Well, hey, welcome back to another Unreal Engine 5 game development live stream. We're back in our Deck Knight project, a game built from scratch using Unreal Engine 5, C++, blueprints, the gameplay ability system plugin, and all of that good stuff. So today, we're going to be continuing where we left off last time. We rewrote and migrated in a card hand template that we got off of Fab. Sorry, I'm just petting a kitty and she's annoyed by it. We modified it to the way we needed it to. We copied all the logic we needed, discarded the ones that we didn't need. And now we're integrating the settings into ImGui so that we can use it as a debug so we can really customize the card spacing on screen. So that's going to be what we're going to be doing today for maybe about an hour or however long it takes. I want to kind of, by the end of this, know a little bit more about where the card placement is going to be, the size, scale, and how they interact with each other. Right now, this is the base template. I also copied the card itself from the template. We're going to update it with my cards soon, but we have this card hand layout and we can adjust the scale, for example, and we have spacing, but it really doesn't really do much. We're gonna have to figure out what the spacing really means in the context of everything, because there's min and max and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to work on today. We already have our ImGui hooks, which is nice. So we just need to open this up in code. We're going to need the .h and the source file. So system debug pipeline, debugging, here we go. Panels, card hand layout. Yeah, so we have these static floats, right? So I took a snapshot of all the settings that I need. So we're going to just pretty much populate them. So we got animation speed, so static float, animation speed, static float, selected, show Y amount, select card scale, step. Whoop. This will hopefully be just a pretty chill stream, so buckle in, folks. Scale, selected, show X amount, static, guess I'll rename this one to minimum card spacing. This one will be maximum card spacing. Let's put those two next to each other. And with percentage shows that. And we'll have to look at the original UI as well, just to see what the default values are and if they clamp them in any interesting ways. So static card arc amount. So that's all the floats. Now for the boolean, so static pool, cool. Well, that's all the settings, I believe, that are applicable here. So we just need to now go to the top here. So this is what max card spacing. Boilerplate. Animation speed. So yeah, let's look at some of the default settings and parameters here. So and speed here. Have a settings section. So yeah. So animation speed. Default value is 12, doesn't have any sort of clamping or anything like that. Make it 12. Let's see, min card spacing, 0.5. Oh, that's max. Oops. So max is 0.5, min is 0.3. Card scale, 0.5. Float F, blah, blah, blah. Angle. One. With percentage 1. Card amount. Y offset, I believe the value is negative 300. Fine. Y offset negative 300. Missing anything else? So keep stack on left. what are some of these booleans default values? True, false. Stack on left is false. Select net card and usage. I'll make it true. I think that's all the settings. I mean, that are applicable. So selected show X and Y amounts. I don't think those are there, right? Also, yeah, select card. Yeah. So selected card scale 1.05. Selected X amount 85. Y amount. That's all of that. So now we have to go into our UI as well. I think it's under HUD, cards, card hand. We kind of have almost identical settings here, if not identical. So let's split that. So we have card spacing, we have card scale. So yeah, we need to change that to minimum card spacing. Split that. Oops, that over there. So minimum card spacing 0.3. Card scale 0.5. Let's do minimum card spacing or maximum card spacing. Maximum. Okay. Information speed. $21? No, 12. Full. Percentage 1. Card amount 5. Offset 100. Select card scale. Oops. $1.05. Selected X show amount. Y. .85. 4. Okie dokie. We got this. Now these booleans, so full. False. Ah. No, so true. So we have those settings. Now I need to have the actual settings applied here because I gotta pretty much update the logic and replace the variables with the new ones. And then I gotta integrate them into the actual UI. So it's not gonna pass. Crap. So this is gonna be minimum. That should work now. Try that again. All right, so that worked. Great. Okay. Some compile errors. Cool with me. Let's figure this out. Wild style. So. Do I have card spacing? Activate card X translation. It is a card spacing. Oh no, it's just passing it in through there. Calculate card X translation. But I really translation old, I think, right? But this is minimum card spacing, so that should be okay. So minimum card spacing. Select to show X amount. And width percentage. That maximum card spacing. Okay, minimum card spacing. Spacing. Yo, yo, yo. What are you doing, Casper? How you going? Still cards? Yes, sir. We're updating the remaining settings in our UI. So in our UI, we're putting in these settings properties and we're going to migrate them into our ImGui so that we can do the updates via the ImGui and hopefully find of some values that we like and we'll work with, and then snapshot them over. Slow and steady. And then after we get that, then I probably want to migrate all of this blueprint logic to code just to make it performant enough. Like on a cook build, it seems fine, but I don't want to risk anything. Trying to make a habit to work on my folio whenever you stream. Nice. I hope we can keep each other motivated. Keep doing what you're doing, man. You should be proud of yourself. Selected show. Play amount. Card scale. Card angle. In the end, you're recreating the code from the ground up. Yeah. Just because the original template had a lot of the things that I didn't need. Like a lot of the mouse hover and drag and drop and things like that. Almost done here. Valid, seems okay. That and close out of that, I think. A lot of red. Let me get rid of that. So now we have all these settings here. Now we just need to make the appropriate like sliders. And I know there's the slider float. I thought you could control so float V, min, max. Maybe there's slider flags. Oh, I'll have to just look this up. So ImGui float slider adjust by slide by. I'm hoping there's a way to say like, okay, just kind of step through at a certain rate. Create step size. Maybe drag float, what it's suggesting. So let's try that one. So we're gonna say, we'll start with arc, I guess. So card arc amount equals that. And GUI float. Arc amount, speed, say 10, I guess. And just get wrapped in an if. So that should work. And I also want to actually give this a category, something like that. Okay, let's try compiling that. I take a picture of my cat. She's looking extra cute today. I'll see if I could show you guys via my phone. My kitty looks like at the moment, lying next to me. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know we said last time we wanted to do a kitty cam. I definitely, like, if I can get the money for it, maybe I would. For now, she gets a little bit of privacy. I just annoy her. But sometimes she comes in here by herself, just chills in the basket in the dark. Can't blame her for that, right? No, don't send me anything. Now let's see if this works as one would expect. So, hard arc amount. Yes. We see that it's moving. That's good. Can't really... like, the drag float doesn't really do anything. I feel like same as the slider. I'm gonna keep the slider aspect of it, I think. Hard arc amount seems appropriate. We'll wrap all these in ifs. Well, that's hard arc amount. Say a minimum card spacing. We would do between, I don't know, 0 and, I don't know, 20. Then we would do max. So we gotta do all these kind of together. So maximum. So we got min, max, card scale, animation speed. Angle. And with percentage, the card arc amount, all of that seems good. But we initialize all that stuff. Now we can just do one by one. So let's do this in the same order. Max. Minimum card spacing. Maximum card spacing. Maximum card spacing. Okay. Next up, card scale, which we did. So animation speed. Card angle. Yeah, card scale. Yes. Yeah, 0 and 2, I guess. Animation speed could be between, I don't know, 1 and 30 or something. Card angle. I mean that and like it's 90. Card arc. No, the next one's hand width percentage. So let's do that one. Since we're dealing with percentage, we probably might just go up to 2. Then grab all this. Next one, card arc amount, which is already written. Next one, this extra Y offset. I don't get what you're exactly doing in code. So right now I'm doing the ImGui properties. So each one of these if statements on the right are those individual sliders. And so we have one for hand width percentage, and we're mapping it, and then we're writing to the UI itself, the cards, and just telling it to use that value. So that when we update the sliders, the UI will get those updated values and update itself so that we can preview how we might want our cards in our hand to be laid out. So it's a lot of just copy and pasting at the moment. Maybe it could be done a better way, I'm not sure, but kind of the vibe I have at the moment. So let's do 500, 500. Extra Y offset. Now select card scale. Go from 0 to 2 or something. Now select it, show X amount. This will be between 0 and 2, I think is, well, we'll do 5, 10. Depends a whole number. Ass! Guess Y would be very similar. Now the next are booleans, so we have to do a checkbox. So checkbox label back on left. Luckily, autocomplete does a lot of this for me. So do 1, 2. I think that's everything. I would need to figure out how I can make a button that just resaves the settings. Might be able to just say modify CDO. I wonder. We'll try. So let's just first check if this works. So page up, card layout, so minimum spacing. That. I guess if I make that false, will the spacing still work like that? The spacings don't seem to do much. So far, all is working. So animation speed. Yeah. Card arc angle. Probably want to keep it relatively short. And with percentage. Arc amount. I want to keep it relatively even too. XYZ offset. So we probably want something like that. Selected card scale. Select to show Y amount. I would want it to be more. I don't know if that's actually doing anything. Let's make the max 1,000. We compile here. Hey, thanks for the subscription there on YouTube, Sasha. Much appreciated. Probably after this stream, I'm gonna play a little bit of Hollow Knight. I don't know how far I am in it, but definitely discovered a good part of the portion of the map. Like, I just unlocked, like, that Dream Needle, or what, I don't remember the name of it, but I'm like, alright, so I'm only 12 hours in, so I don't know what that really means in the grand scheme of the whole game. How do you enjoy or dislike difficulty curve in Hollow Knight? So far it's difficult. It's not too bad. Like, there's just one boss that I'm not able to beat. It's just like this gooey monster thing that's just shooting out these flying monsters, so it's kind of... Like, the one thing I get annoyed by is the contact damage. Because at the same time, I was playing another Metroidvania that didn't have contact damage when you dodged. And so, like, I was trying to flip between the two, and I just couldn't really get to it. So it seems like selected show wide amount. Like doing anything. I don't like how it's moving. I gotta figure out why the show Y amount is not doing anything. He's silly. But yeah, I think I also just upgraded the needle, so it's a little stronger. But it's still pretty difficult, honestly. I feel like the difficult part is just trying to figure out where to go. Which I think is the point, you know, that's the exploration aspect, so that should be interesting and not difficult to do, but challenging. Let's show Y amount. Oh, is it this? Why is this 0? Function is this selected card transfer. card scale. So since this was returning 0, okay, so that was probably why. There you go. Quite far. So I guess it needs to be like between a 0 and a 2 or something. Kitty's moving around. Did you end up playing Hollow Knight at all? I'm gonna make a boolean here. Let me make it in Blueprint first. So be straighten selected card. I wonder if I would have to do the same thing with shear. I wonder if that will look nice or better. Oh my god, I did it in the wrong blueprint. Make that true. Yeah, I think that looks good. I think it does look better. I also think Z order needs to be updated. So select card. Oh, wait, there should be like a Z order here, right? Okay, add card as canvas slot. Okay. I need to get the Z order, so I need to probably save this somewhere. So previous selected card Z order. I need to set Z order. I think 0 is on top. So after we select it, hey, thanks for the sub there on YouTube, much appreciated. Then there's get previous card, remove card, select card. There's release card. Oh my god, I'm doing it in the wrong blueprint again. Local variable. 2. Like that should be sufficient. Now at the moment, I guess I gotta do, like, let's look at the logic here. This card navigation is where I do it, right? So there's get previous card. So I should be able to get canvas slot. That gets the previous card. So maybe in here somewhere. I don't have to print that anymore. Okay, I guess I would be doing something like so card hand get. I should have this index at this point. It's canvas. This the order this to be able to grab this, make a function. Store deselected card. Looks nice, thanks. Well, this logic like it comes from a template, but we've modified the template, updated the code, removed some stuff, added some stuff. I'm hoping it's gonna look good in the end. We also got some assets from Fab where we're gonna see if we can make the cards look interesting. But one thing at a time, I guess. So yeah, let's see. Okay, so definitely Z order. Not correct. So access none. So we gotta make sure we clean that. So restore. It's valid. Yes, when we do the Z order, when we select the card, not 0, but we do card hand. Could be hopefully better. Yeah, so now they come up on top. We have the cards. You know, possibly. We would want probably to also fade out the cards. That are not selected. So I don't know if it should happen. Yes, it needs to happen on navigation or at the beginning. But when we add card, we set the Z order, and we probably I always want to do that. But yeah, at the same time, we probably want to grab set capacity, set, not offsets, not anchor size. What's the terminology here? Render opacity? Is that option? Set render opacity to 0.8 or something. And when we select the card, we could set the render opacity. One. Okay, so we set them, but I guess also restore. I guess we want to say restore select the order, but we also might want to do back 0.8. Well, so maybe this needs to be restore the selected card settings. Maybe I don't know if that's good looking or not. For now, we'll leave it alone. Let's see if we can actually create a button here. So ImGui button settings. Go. Nice. Am I able to do what ChatGPT is suggesting, or I say card hand modify? That looks all right. Man, we'll have to play around with the settings some more. Do I have anything like that? I'm curious if this will work. Let's see. Then yeah, we could find some audio for, like, you know, card movement. So the initial problem is it looks like the opacity rendered, like, it doesn't render correctly for the first card. I don't like how the card moves when you do the final one. Kind of want it to stay stable, so I gotta see why that's doing that. But yeah, let's see. Let's do card hand layout. Let's make the card scale. So I think it by default is like that. Let's make it like that. Let's save settings to CDO. See what happens. So we changed card scale. Oh yeah, it's still 0.5. I'm not sure. Can I mark package as dirty? Sure. Because what I want to do is be able to make the changes in the ImGui and then have them update in the settings. So card scale points, let's just say 0.995. Settings to CDO. Doesn't save. Okay, so So they make an example here. Don't really know. So I say U, widget blueprint, widget BP, so is it too complicated? Maybe. Let's just do it. Still a problem, okay. Maybe it's too complicated. Just ask Google, so. A YouTube video to potentially watch. So maybe for now, I'll watch it later since we're already about an hour in. Let's look at the order of operations here. We do add card. So maybe actually select card should happen here. No, when they're all added. Still no. So if it's less than or equal to 1, I feel like let's say, is it greater than or equal to 0? It's like the only litmus test I see here. So is selecting the card. I'm not sure why the render opacity is never. Do we get to this point? No. Why? So check if it's not empty, which it shouldn't be. Now, so index does not equal. All right, so that's probably where it fails because we're probably going to get here. Hello. Not too sure. I guess I want to say is from removal and. Yeah, and makes more sense in this case. Now that should get me to the breakpoint. No, still no. So let's see. I have that point here, so index at 0. So wow. Oh, not. Maybe I don't even care about that. Now we get to the break point. So generally that looks okay. Now let's look at card hand layout. So minimum card spacing. It does some interesting stuff. And it gets to, does the max have to be? Scale, animation speed, card angle. feel like the selected X amount doesn't have to be much bigger. I think it could be just like that. Max card spacing, I kind of want to bring them in. That. Selected card scale, probably bigger. I think in general card scale can go down. So we would have to make it lower than 0.5. Maybe like that. Hand width percentage. Something like that. I think hand width percentage should be pretty close to 1. Extra Y offset, I feel like that's appropriate. The spacing is a little off. So something like that. So selected Y amount maybe can come up here. So, you know, bam, 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 bam. Obviously the text is too small. We're not going to have too much crazy text. But bam, 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 bam. Maybe selected card scale can be more. Maybe the render opacity can be a little less. So selected show X amount doesn't really seem like it's doing anything. These flags also don't seem like they do anything, but yeah, card angle. I think we could straighten them a little bit. Card arc amount, we can flatten them out a little bit. I think that looks good. Like when we think minimum text, I'm not sure how I feel yet about it being on the sides like it is. Let me screenshot these settings. And we'll make them the default. So minimum card spacing, 0.275. Max, 0.625. We're gonna just round some stuff. So here's full number, card scale. This one I might want to mess with actually a bit more. So we'll go into code as well. Card scale, we'll do 0.1 as the minimum. Let's not reload that in the meantime. So animation speed, I think it could be faster. 20. Card angle, 3. Hand width percentage, leave it at 1. Card arc amount, we'll do 0.275. Let's do 0.25. Extra Y offset, minus 240. Card. So selected card scale, we'll do 1.12. Or 1.15 might be appropriate. Selected show X amount. I'm not confident that this does anything. Oh, something down. Sure. Oh. So selected show X amount, 0.95. We'll have to double check that. Selected show Y amount, 0.8. And then I'll need to look at these stack size stuff. Well, we'll also need to add opacity and try in 16:9. In my opinion, it will look better in that ratio. There will be less space in the middle. Yeah, we can do in a selected viewport, not selected viewport, in the editor window. So I'm thinking this is 16 by 9. So yeah, for sure too much space, I think. Unless we change the scale a little bit more. So hard scale. Oh, it's not. Did it really fail? And I do wonder if it should be in the middle still. Okay. So it's failing. So let's compile from editor. Maybe it's this build. UMG editor. It's UMG editor twice. I don't think I need UMG editor. Might have to let it generate project files in a second. Once that's done, we'll see if that'll compile. So there is cannot open file. Oh my god, please. Oh. So up here. So we'll let this do its thing. Let's update Discord. I feel like Discord updates so much. Almost like every 2 days. One more time. Okay. Well, let's open this back up. And let's get the reference here. Now, reference viewer. And like, I'm curious if it should be like in the center. Definitely not if that's going to be in the center because of that. But maybe it's a scaling issue. Yeah, what do you have to do to sit on that face? Just do it. But also, okay, Bill, in yeah, in which year? In 2028. We're going to New Zealand. Mark your calendar. Done. Yeah. Okay, so this might be a little bit too on the edge. A little bit of breathing room, I think. And then, yeah, we gotta mess with the card scale below 0.5. So card scale. And maybe that's okay. Again, minimum text and stuff. But I just don't know if that's going to get in the way. Maybe the selected card Y can go a little smaller like that. Because I don't think we'll ever need to show like the full card. And obviously, like we gotta be very descriptive with the card color and very minimal text to get the point across. Like I would say, like let's open up a card. I think a card really should say like, you know, summon a fireball to deal fire damage or something. Like that should really be it. No skew amount. I don't know what monoscoping means. Oh. Like I feel like that should be like the minimum text, you know? So what does this look like in practice? Is that's readable. But yeah, I forgot to save the changes to the layout. So we wanted to make the cards 0.4. We get some notes out. Selected card scale. $1.3. Selected X show amount. Maybe 0.65. So let's pass those along. Selected. Card scale 1.3. Y offset 0.65. Then here, I think we can put it to the edge. Probably even more so. Like, I feel like that is reasonable. I want to make an add card button as well. But curious what you think. You can interact with them. So yeah, imagine they're colored. Imagine the image is descriptive. I'm curious if it's going to be readable. And like easy to work with, I guess. All right, so the last thing we'll do is add a add card button. Well, I guess we could keep technically this button. So if need to make a C++ function for it. I guess it would be a, what's it, U function, blueprint, implementable event. Let's say that do a file. And once we do that, I think we'll call it a night. And then we'll probably stream again next week, Tuesday. Before we even try to do the whole C++ implementation of everything, I just want to get the previous cards working again. Be able to say event card handed. Let's say add card, right? Let's see if that works. So, bam, bam. So at this point, yeah, they're not. So at this point, minimum spacing. That'd be kind of wild if it was like all on the bottom here. Like, that's why part of me kind of likes that everything would be for the examples. Like, I don't know if I like mockup 7 as much as I do mockup 6, for example, or 4. Like, having everything kind of on the bottom. So you could have like all the cards on the bottom and have all the space there, and then, you know, your ability bar and stuff is on top. That looks kind of messy. So I think the problem is that it is kind of offset like this, right? So as long as I give it enough space, it should be fine. Card layout, add card. Like, I don't want you to ever really have this many cards in your hand at one time. I'm just kind of curious how it would look overall. I gotta add the properties for render opacity. What if I made it like 0.4? Does that make anything more or less readable? Like, that feels worse, honestly, like having them in a different render opacity. I don't think it's necessary, just because you could see them overlap, and I feel like that might be a little more confusing. So maybe there really shouldn't be a difference in terms of render opacity. In general, I'm wondering how much this gets in the way. Because, like, again, I feel like it definitely gets in the way right now. And, like, you know, when you get to this kind of card, it's not as bad. But I feel like I just need to make a judgment call on, like, the maximum number of cards you'll ever have in your hand, and just kind of offset this to the right until it makes sense. Like, would I ever say you can have more than 6 cards? It's like this still kind of gets in the way. And, you know, it becomes less intrusive. I don't know what you guys think. Because I don't want cases where, for example, you know, you have enemies behind the card, you know? Like, to me, that might be, not might be, but is kind of bad. Figure out what would work. I'm making a card transparent when it is over an enemy. Maybe. Yeah, when the card is pulled up. And maybe. I just don't know how that might work. Maybe I can reduce hand width percentage. Maybe I can do like width stuff. Card scale. Like this is better already, but I don't know if I just made things too small. Yeah, I gotta just strike some sort of balance, I guess. Yeah. Now let's not overthink it just yet. We have parameters to play with. Guessing if, because I have a widescreen, so like for wider monitors it's not as bad either. I don't know. Yeah, I think it might be fine. Back to the original size. Yeah, maybe I'm overthinking it, you know? We'll just have to, like you said, get some actual gameplay going, put some cards back. Also add like card animations and stuff. I think that would be pretty cool. But when you add a card, you know, be like, because they have an example of that too in the template. I'll just have to carry it over. So I think next week we'll definitely finish up the layout stuff for the cards. And maybe we can slowly put the rest in as like placeholder art so that we kind of can simulate these mock-ups a little bit more. So, you know, we have because maybe this needs to be towards this, so you know how many card points you have or something. Like, I'm not sure, like that, you know, the ability bar, like, I don't know if you need to see your graveyard or see your deck. Maybe they can be in more symbolic means. But yeah, passives and stuff. So I just wonder if everything should be on the bottom, like on Mockup 5, or I guess more of Mockup 2, Mockup 7. You know, get rid of the character bar thing, and you have like all your active slots and stuff like that. I think we're just gonna try for this one and see how it looks. So should be pseudo okay. We'll just see. I have to see what it is in practice. So 7 for me, but seriously, don't overthink it that much. You will probably move. Yeah, fair. So yeah, we'll go with 7. we'll move on with it. The hand and stuff. I'll have to see. So yeah, that's where I'm going to end it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It's all very much appreciated. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Make sure to follow on Discord. Not follow on Discord. Make sure to follow on Twitch. Enjoy your weekends. Be safe. And yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday most likely. So have a good night and see you soon.